Thank you so much for that great introduction. We've worked together at the Shoah Foundation now from its inception, from the beginning, almost 21 years. So, and you've done so much for the survivor community, and we are all so proud of you, and we are also proud of everyone who had the courage to contribute, 53,000 contributors to give testimony to what happened here between Kristallnacht and 1945. Thank you very much, Yitzhak Castellanitz, for your steadfast dedication to the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum. And Ron, thank you so much for your deep support of the entire survivor community. I think you're the godfather of this event, and I thank you for that. And David Zaslov, thank you, sir, for starting with an idea of how we do something that can be globally heard. This, the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, and then following through until these 3 days are realized to their fullest. And to everyone behind this effort, and to the USC Shoah Foundation's counselors and next generation council members, and all of our friends on this mission, thank you all so much. But most importantly, I want to thank the many survivors, along with their family members, for being here this evening. To share this moment with you is incredibly meaningful for all of us, and it's a great, great honor for me in so many personal ways. After 53,000 of you gave our foundation your stories of life and death, I feel like I belong to each and every one of you. We all feel that way. You know, when we are young, we have profound experiences which, even if not detectable at that time, serve our initial comprehension of human behavior, and more specifically of pain and of trauma. I've spoken before about how one of my earliest learning experiences, one of my earliest memories, is learning how to read numbers from Holocaust survivors showing me their tattoos when my grandfather and grandmother taught English in Cincinnati, Ohio, to many Hungarian survivors. And as a little kid, I understood, what the numbers were saying, but I could certainly not grasp the magnitude of those numbers. That they were, in fact, indelible marks of death, unimaginable suffering, unimaginable loss. But I know now that tracing my identity as a Jew is an ever-evolving process. The learning of the numbers as a child, number one. As an adolescent, the witnessing of anti-Semitism among some of my classmates and some people in our neighborhoods. And then as an adult, coming here to Krakow, Poland to make Schindler's List. If you're a Holocaust survivor, your identity as a Jew was threatened by the Third Reich. Your identity is flooded with mortality, with unspeakable acts of hatred, but your identity is also one of resilience and an incomparable appreciation for life in spite of all those who tried to take it away from you. Your identity is in the courage you have shown in telling your stories. Your identity, having trusted me and the Shoah Foundation as the custodians of your stories, will survive for as long as children can listen to your words, listen to what your eyes are saying too, and then carry your messages into their own futures and into all generations to come. That's our mission at the Shoah Foundation. Now, if you were born a Jew after the Holocaust, like me, your identity can only be fully explored by one's willingness to acknowledge and embrace history, by your eagerness to find and root out what invoked the Holocaust and what triggered those and many other atrocities in the form of genocide and terrorism. The Holocaust, we understand and respect this. The Holocaust, except for you, and maybe even including you, is incomprehensible. So making Schindler's List here in Krakow and speaking with survivors, these are the ways I try to comprehend the Holocaust. When I talked to survivors, they told me that thinking of a day when they could be heard, when they could share their own stories and identities, had given them purpose. And I'm grateful for these survivors, not only for their bravery in the face of genocide, but because in wanting To help them find their voices, I got to find my own voice, and I got to find my own Jewish identity, all in thanks to all of you. If you are a Jew today, in fact, if you are any person who believes in freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom and free expression, you know that, like many other groups, we are once again facing the perennial demons of intolerance. Anti-Semites, radical extremists, and religious fanatics that provoke hate crime. These people that want to all over again strip you of your past, of your story, and of your identity. And just as we talk about going through our personal histories to pinpoint what makes us who we are, these people make their own points. Facebook pages, for instance, identifying Jews and their geographic locations with the intention to attack, and the growing effort to banish Jews from Europe. The most effective way we can combat this intolerance and honor those who survived and those who perished is to call on each other to do what the survivors have already done, to remember and to never forget. Taking on this task is an exceptional responsibility. It means preserving places like Auschwitz so people can always see for themselves how hateful ideologies can become tangible acts of murder. It means sharing and sustaining the testimonies of witnesses so they can be an enduring group of teachers from around the world. Their testimonies give each survivor everlasting life and give all of us everlasting value. Which brings us to where we are now, the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And despite the obstacles we face today, I feel reassured by our shared efforts to combat hate, by, for instance, the 24 educators in our delegation this week, and by the students and young people who have joined them. And my hope for tomorrow's commemoration is that the survivors with us and fellow survivors from all around the world will feel confident that we are renewing their call to remember, that we will not only make known their own identities, but in the process help form a meaningful collective conscience for generations to come. On this anniversary, let us all be renewed by the knowledge that ours is a just cause and that we will make sure the lessons of the past remain with us in the present so that we can now and forever find humanitarian ways to fight inhumanity. It's an honor to be with all of you today. Thank you very much.